John, it's been 5 weeks between games with these teams. Do you still draw upon that experience in Calgary and how things kind of came apart for 3 minutes in that third period and implement something differently here tonight?
Yeah, it's a game we let get away from us. Obviously, it was a good opportunity to get a good result that we wanted. Obviously, gives you a little bitter taste in your mouth. So, obviously, it'd be nice to change that script today. Obviously, give you a sense of the way they play and their style with their team and what they like to do. So, we know their D like to be active and get up in the play. So. Just imperative. We're staying above people, and we're making good puck decisions, and obviously we want to play with it and be able to break them down. So have a good sense of that and build off some of the positives from the other night.
John, what do you see as the biggest challenge when you're going up against someone like Kachuk, who's kind of got the skill but also the ability to agitate?
Well, I just don't think you get into all the other stuff that really doesn't matter. I think you just go out there and play. I mean, he plays hard. He's a very good player. He's talented. So all the agitating stuff. You just, I don't know. For me, I just don't really try to worry about it. I just try to go out there and play my game. He plays physical. He plays hard. There's a lot of guys that play that way. So it's part of the game, and just stick with what you can control and what you're doing out there.
What do you make of it, though, the Cassian Kachuk stuff? It just seems like nowadays there's not much hate in the game, and we make a big deal out of something that maybe 10, 15 years ago wouldn't have been quite as big a deal.
Yeah, I mean, it just maybe doesn't happen as much. So, yeah, I think you said it well. Something like that obviously will build, and it's in one of the biggest rivalries we have in our league. So, certainly that's probably a big factor, and both teams, those two teams are fighting for points and positioning, and their type of play, their style of play, it kind of is made for that. So, I think for whether it's our team or just the way around the league, I think everyone's just tries to play their game, and when those things happen, it's part of it. And when you see a team as often as you see teams in your division, that stuff will build.
The younger guys talk about what an inspiration you are. When you look back to a similar stage in your career, the Smolinskis, the Alfredsons, what do you recall the impact they may have had on a young player that you might be able to impart in these kids here?
Yeah, I think just, as a young guy for me, I was on a team that had been together for a little bit, and it's important that you kind of acclimate yourself with the group right away. So those guys were great to me. I was always picking Alfie's brain, Chris Phillips, like those guys were staples in our locker room. And I think you just try to be consistent for guys now as you become an older player. The guys are kind of looking for advice at times, and also sometimes just kind of watching to see what you're up to, and it's an important role to have.
And the role of what you were able to do the other night in terms of going into the trenches, so to speak, and digging out the way you did to set up 2 goals. How gratifying is that, and knowing that's a part of your game as well as your latter 30s here of your career?
Yeah, I think just as a line, we talked before the game that we needed to show some urgency just to kind of, show the group we needed a bounce-back game, and then to get a big goal from Goat when your fourth line can score, that helps the team out. It's not something that's expected of us every night, but it's when you can give a big jolt, and I think more so was just in having a good attitude to start that game that we needed to respond from the Florida game, and I thought the group did a really good job, and we had a really good first period.
Jason, less guys in the league right now like Kachuk, who are kind of the agitating force as well as the high skill. Like, do you see him as kind of a unique challenge? Or?
No, I think there's still guys around the league. I think, that's probably less of the game than it used to be. It used to be a little more of the game, but there's lots of guys that are agitators around the league, but no, he's a combination of high-end skill and being able to do that, so he's a unique player for sure.
How do you feel the younger guys have handled it when they've gone up against those type of agitating forces?
Yeah, we haven't had too much issue, and we're a team that I think it's good when emotion gets into our game, but we don't get distracted by guys, and the makeup of our locker room doesn't seem to be one that's going to get too phased by one particular guy or anybody, so we haven't had any problems with guys coming in trying to agitate us.
Club's averaging almost 4 goals per game this season. How do you correlate that fine line between getting it done at that end and maybe a little more consistency at the other end as a team, William?
Yeah, well, I think scoring goals is obviously fun, but the other part is obviously very important to win games, so I think that's a part of our game that's getting better and better.
William, what's the challenge you're facing a player like Kachuk who can mix the agitation with the skill.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's got a special talent for that, so just got to be aware when he's out there.
Tavares was just saying when he was younger, he used to get a little more frustrated than he does now. How are you when it comes to dealing with agitators?
Well, I mean, it doesn't really happen that often in the game anymore, but I mean, you got to deal with it when it happens.
How do you deal with it when it does happen on the rare chance?
I mean, you don't really let it get to you. It's just their way of playing their game, so I mean, try not to let it get to you.
What do you like about having Engvall there on the other wing on your line?
Yeah, it's great. He's got speed and, I mean, flies down on the forecheck and gets pucks back, and played with him a little bit when we were younger, so there's still some little chemistry there.
In terms of the play he made, he was commenting yesterday, he's got his eye on the high slot, obviously, but he sees you at the other end. Is his passing ability underrated given what we saw from him the other night in setting you up?
Yeah, of course. I think he's had a couple really nice passes in his time up here, so for sure I think it's underrated.
What was it like when you played with him before?
Same. He was the same way. I mean, probably one of the fastest guys on the ice. And, I mean, get down and get pucks back, and, I mean, with a heavy shot, too, score a lot of goals.
What do you remember from that rookie camp up in Collingwood in 2015 and that whole group of you guys there for the first time together?
Yeah, it was crazy. I think we were like 8-10 Swedes or something, so we were just hanging out all trip, so that was fun.
Rasmus and Timothy were making fun. I guess he had some pretty big celebrations when he scored in the AHL. You're hoping to see more of that in the NHL?
Oh, yeah, of course. I'd love to see that.
Continues to grow, maybe a baptism under fire, but four Marley guys have spent a decade with the organization in the American Hockey League. What is the best part about that experience in terms of preparing them for what they're going to go through here in the next little while?
Well, I just think, it's not just this next little while, but just in their careers. I think for guys that spend time in the American League gives them a little more time to develop their body, develop their game, play in more situations, be it power play, penalty kill, the high minutes, in our case, long playoff runs and, ups and downs and the emotions of playoffs. I think all those things serve players very well to be able to take on whatever their career might bring.
You're a couple of days away, and I don't want to get too far ahead of yourself there, but you get a couple of days away from a week off. What are you going to do with that time?
I'm going to spend some time with my family and get away a little bit. That's been one of the greatest challenges of this new role, is to find those windows of time to be with my wife and kids. So that's what I'll be doing.